Hello. Welcome to this debate with candidates for Mandan School Board one-year term. I am Ann Cruz Melton, a member of the League of Women Voters, and I will be your moderator. This debate has been organized and the questions developed by the League of Women Voters, the Bismarck Tribune, the Bismarck-Mandan Chamber EDC, AARP of North Dakota, and Dakota Media Access. There are 4 candidates running for election for Mandan School Board's one-year term, and 2 candidates have joined us here today. They are Julie Cronin-Scarrett and Victoria Veda-Hammond. Our purpose is to provide voters with information about the candidates and their positions on issues that affect the citizens of Mandan Public School District. The candidates have not received questions in advance. Viewers watching this debate live on April 29th may submit questions by texting LWV BizMan 152 to 22333 to join the session. Then text your question. Please keep questions brief as there is a character limit. The debate format is as follows. Each candidate will have 60 seconds to make an opening statement, and after opening statements, the candidates will respond to questions. The first responses to questions will be rotated between the candidates, and each candidate will have 60 seconds to respond to each question. After each candidate has responded to the question, there will be up to 3 additional minutes allowed for debate or additional comments from any or all candidates. After the final question, each candidate will then have 60 seconds to make a closing statement. Candidates are asked to comply with our time restrictions so we can get to as many questions as possible. Our timer will let you know when your responses are down to 30 seconds, 10 seconds, and stop. For the debate segment, they will indicate when we are down to 1 minute and stop. Now, let's meet our candidates. Each of you have 60 seconds to make an opening statement, and I will go to Julie first.
All right. Thanks, Ann. And I want to just thank the League of Women for inviting us to this discussion today. My name is Julie Cronin-Scarrett, and I am a former education reporter. As a broadcast journalist, that by no means makes me an expert at all on education. However, that is what launched my interest in being inside our schools a little bit more. I've been married 17 years. I have a daughter who goes to Mandan Middle School. I almost did not file my paperwork for my candidacy. I thought maybe I just didn't have what it took for the position. And then I realized very quickly that I am more qualified because I'm just your average full-time working mom. The schools have my child more hours than I see her in a weekday, and I want to know what's going on in the schools. I think there are a lot of really great things happening in our schools that we need to continue with, but there are some concerns that we need to have some serious discussions about. And I don't just want to be watching from the sidelines. I want to be active and participating in the decisions being made.
Thank you. Victoria, you're welcome to make your opening statement.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I would like to take the time and to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this debate for tonight. For those who do not know me, my name is Victoria Veda-Hammond. I am a lifelong resident of the Mandan community, an extension for the people for the city of Mandan, and I am running for the school board. I also am a planning and zoning commissioner and a vice president of the Mandan Architecture Review Commission.
Thank you. We will now move on to questions. And as I mentioned, we will alternate. So the first question, Victoria, I will let you answer, and then we'll go to Julie. What are your thoughts on the plans developed for repurposing the land where Mandan High School is currently located?
Well, I think the location for the Mandan High School is great. Being part of the Mandan Architecture Review Commission, we did approve those plans for the new high school being built. I think it's a great location. And it's going to be an opportunity to serve the teachers and students there.
Thanks, Julie.
I need to clarify the question. Are you talking about the new school or the existing high school?
Yes, the plans developed for repurposing the land where Mandan High School is currently located.
So I would love to, there are a lot of ideas out there on what to do with that property. I think that the property is in an ideal location for a lot of different things. I'm hearing a lot of people as I have conversations with them about them wanting to be able to use that facility to do some family type activities, to have something in there like a movie theater or something like that. I'd really like to see some conversations geared towards that. Not exactly sure what they're going to plan on doing with that space for sure, but would like to see the community's input being involved in that decision-making process.
Thank you. And we have plenty of time if either of you would like to have further comments or discussion on this topic.
I don't have any.
I don't have any either.
Okay, we will keep going. And Julie, we'll go to you first this time. How would you work to bolster teacher recruitment and retention within the district if you were elected to the school board?
How would I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Sure, work to bolster teacher recruitment and retention if you're elected to the school board.
Well, I know that our teachers right now, the salaries are pretty good for our teachers, and I'm hearing from people within the school system, not necessarily teachers, but I have heard from some other staff that pay doesn't seem to be a really big issue. I don't know what issues they're facing because I've not been hearing conversations about what issues they might be facing. But what I do know is it seems to me that there have been quite a few of our staff members, teachers, who have been resigning. In the last year alone, we had 21 staff members resign from schools, a lot of them in the high school and the middle school, and 10 so far this year. So I'm looking forward to finding out what's going on, what the dynamics are, that I feel there are quite a few teachers resigning from our school district. I'd like to know more about that.
Thank you. Victoria?
Can you repeat the question again, please?
Sure. How would you work to bolster teacher recruitment and retention within the district if you were elected to the school board?
Okay. That will be the career technical education programs, and I do believe that salary is the most important thing to bring in the teachers. I've been hearing, a lot of issues. We're not paying our teachers enough for the salary, and then we need to bring in, like I said, more programs. Our community is growing, and with growth comes opportunities as well as challenges, which directly impacts the Mandan Public School Districts. Teachers need to be paid more. We need to educate our students, and we need that education and technology to keep current to bring those students and teachers into the workforce.
Okay. We still have time if you'd like to discuss more or offer more comments on teacher retention and recruitment.
I'd also really like to know, and again, I've not served on the school board, so I'm not privy to some of this information. I have looked up the school board meeting minutes, and I've not seen anything that really stands out. But I would really like to know, what are teachers saying? I don't know what some of the struggles are within the school system, but I would like to know. That's one of the reasons I'm running. I want to know, what are the teachers saying? What are the students saying? What are all of our stakeholders saying? Our business owners, we all need to get involved in making decisions within the school board because it affects our community. And I'd really like to know, what are the teachers saying? Have we ever posed any questions to them as a district to ask them, what are some of the challenges you're facing? What are some things that could help retain more teachers? I'd like to dive into that a little bit more and find out what it is that they're struggling with.
And then I'm going to say, for my campaign slogan is every student matters, every moment counts. And I have developed a deep and true understanding of the needs for our students, teachers, and educators. Every child in our Mandan School District is important, and every minute in school is just as important. Our students' future is the education in the classroom.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay. Victoria, we will go to you with the third question. What ideas do you have to improve behavioral health services and support for students in Mandan schools?
That will bring in basically bring in more teachers and more education and make sure that teachers are certified.
Thank you. Julie?
This is a big one. I could talk a long time about this because I have heard from my daughter's teacher, one of her teachers, about this very concern. And the conversation I had with this teacher was because, specifically, my daughter was almost hit in the head by an entire desk because a child with behavioral issues threw a chair across the room at the teacher. Listen, this is a complicated issue that we're not going to fix overnight. But what I do know is that our staff seem to be stressed in this area. That teacher gave us that example. She was nearly in tears when she was telling us about this student and other students in her class where she has to intervene. She doesn't have help coming her way quickly either. She has to intervene a lot on keeping the rest of the students safe. That's prohibiting her from teaching children. And I think we need to figure out what it is that we can do to help these teachers and students out to feel safe in the classroom.
Thank you. Are there further comments on behavioral health services?
I have one more comment I could make on that. There are a significant amount of behavioral, I shouldn't say behavioral, paras that work with special education students in our school system. These paras are godsends because they love working with these children. These children are a challenge. What you're probably not hearing in the school board meetings, because it's not on the minutes, because when paras resign, that's not approved by the board. Teachers and other staff are, but not the paras. That's my understanding anyways. What we're not hearing, and I'm hearing it because I'm talking with the teachers and the people in the schools, is that there are so many paras right now working with special needs children who are being assaulted in the classroom. I've talked to 4 different ones who have quit their jobs because they've been assaulted in the classroom. They've come home either in tears or with bruises on them. They've been hit. They've been threatened. Now, again, these students have special needs, and there's some sympathy there. But we've got to get to a point where we can make these teachers feel safe to do their jobs, too. I can give you an example. One of these paras actually quit her job in the classroom working with children, which she loves to do, and took a job with the F5 program, which is a fabulous program, but she's working with convicted felons over children with behavioral needs. That tells me there's a problem there with behavioral health in our schools. I don't have a quick answer for how to solve it, but what I do know is that we have some issues right now, and we need to have a more serious conversation about it.
Victoria, would you like to respond at all?
No.
Okay. All right, Julie, we'll go to you first with the next question. What potential do you see for Mandan to partner with our local colleges and universities?
Well, that's a very good question. And I don't know how to answer that right away, to be honest with you. Mentorship programs comes to mind. Are there some opportunities where we can be having some of these older students mentoring younger students, kind of like big buddy programs? I suppose we could always be working with higher education, learning about how they do their budgeting, how they allocate dollars. Of course, it's not apples to apples, but we could be learning that way from a business sense. I don't have any more to say about that. Again, another issue I'd love to dive into. Just haven't considered it yet.
Thank you. Victoria?
And I'm also going to say the mentorship programs in higher education.
Okay. Any further thoughts on working with colleges and universities?
Well, these colleges and universities have been around forever in our community, and I just know that they're excellent universities here locally, but they're excellent universities statewide. And there are some very educated professionals working on those levels. So, It's never a bad idea to collaborate and find out what we can be doing on a smaller scale in our district.
Victoria, any further?
Good.
Okay. All right. Victoria, we will go to you first this time. How would you tackle busing challenges in the Mandan School District?
You know, that's a really great question. As you know, the city of Mandan is growing, and we have a lot of development in the Northwest and stuff. And you know, like I said, that's a very great question, and I'm just trying to figure out how to respond to that one. I'll let Julie tackle that one.
To begin with, I'm not completely aware of what busing issues we're having specifically. Now, what I have heard is that we have an issue with the number of bus drivers. So that's a start right there. Figuring out how to recruit and retain more drivers. Actually, there was a situation at the beginning of this school year where all of the children were at our bus stop and the bus never came. And then all of us parents got a text that said, sorry parents, but we're low on drivers. And so we haven't gotten to your children yet. And everyone was forgiving about it and we all worked with each other. But clearly that is an issue. I think that they've somewhat resolved that, but I think that's still an ongoing issue.
Thank you. Further thoughts about busing?
Our community is growing, so we need to hire more bus drivers and all that stuff.
Yeah, and I've heard too that there is, I don't remember what they call them, a helper on each of the buses too. And I'm not sure if they don't run buses, if they don't have a helper, but maybe we could take a look at maybe not having a helper on every bus, maybe just buses that are having issues with children to help out the bus drivers. It seems like a lot of extra staff to have not only a bus driver on the bus, but also a helper. Would be interested in learning if that's a stipulation for having a bus run, is if they have both a driver and a helper, be something to consider.
Thank you. I want to pause for people who are watching live on April 29th, just a reminder that you are able to submit questions. You can text LWV BizMan 152 to 22333 to join the session and text in your question. And please keep those questions brief. There is a character limit. Thank you. We will continue now. Julie, the next question will start with you. What improvements to school safety would you support for Mandan schools?
Well, I feel like I answered that one earlier. There are, again, issues within our classrooms, whether we want to believe it or not, they are out there. I've heard several of them, of teachers not feeling safe in the classroom and of having to deal with unruly children. Again, there's no quick answer on how to solve the unruly children part. We have to give all of these kids a space in the schools. Our paras are maxed out. They are up to like 20 kids, I've heard, with difficult children. So they're maxed out. So a lot of times these kids have to stay in the classroom. There's got to be another way that we can make the kids and the teachers feel safe in the classroom.
Victoria?
You know, I'm actually going to say this, but I do agree with Julie on that statement.
Okay. Would you like to offer any further comments, either of you?
I'll say this. It takes a team. You know, they say that it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a team. It takes the teachers. It takes the staff. It takes administrators, taxpayers. It takes everybody to come up with these solutions. I am one person. Again, I've not been privy to a lot of the inside stuff going on. I'm trying to learn as much as I can. But working together and not making decisions from the top down, but working together and making decisions from the bottom up is going to be in the best interest of all of us. And I think that there are a lot of people out there in our community that could have some great solutions that I would like to hear from. That's what I'll bring to the school board. I will be talking with teachers. I'll be talking to parents, students, the whole gamut, to figure out how we can resolve some of these issues. I think that everyone needs to be involved in the process.
Hearing no further comments, we are going to go to a question that was submitted live, and Victoria, you will get this one first. Do you think the percentage of property taxes funding the school is too low, too high, or just right?
That's a very great question. And then can you repeat that again, please?
Sure. I'll call it the Goldilocks question. Do you think the percentage of property taxes funding the school is too low, too high, or just right?
I'm going to say it's just right, because with taxpayer dollars, we're bringing development into the city of Mandan.
Julie?
It's a complicated question. Everybody wants to be sure that we're being fiscally responsible. It seems like especially from the folks paying taxes who don't have children in the schools. So it's important to be mindful of that. We also want to make sure that our children are getting a quality education. We have a high school that is just not suitable for kids and learning anymore, so we need to be building a new one. What I would say is that I think the school board right now does a good job at determining how much money they need to levy, which is a deciding factor then into how the taxes are determined. And I do think that where they're at right now are a fair place for them to be for what we're trying to do in this district.
Thank you. Further thoughts on property taxes? Okay, we will keep going. Julie, you will have this next question. How would you support and expand fine arts programming in Mandan schools?
Well, they already are expanding, and we do need more support for it. Because some of these kids, that's what they have. It's kind of their release to be able to participate in the arts and the musics and the choir and musical instruments. It's so healthy for our kids, and we know that when children are involved in the fine arts, we know that they learn better, that they're healthier. So it's really important that we support those. I took a trip over to the new high school, though, and it's fascinating. Superintendent Mike Bitts showed me around, and it's fascinating, the art wing that they have, the entire art wing. I mean, they've got 3 kilns. What school has 3 kilns? Not only that, but they have space for an orchestra. They don't have orchestra in the schools yet, but they have space for it. So they're planning already on expanding the fine arts. There's always room to have conversations about expanding fine arts, and there's always room to be supporting it, I believe.
Thank you, Victoria.
We also need to expand the fine arts, and like what Julie said, arts and music, and we need more of it. And I find that's pretty healthy that we need more of these programs.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
It could be a good collaboration with the universities, learning about expanding fine arts programs. BSC has some of the finest musicians.
Thank you. Victoria, we'll go to you first this time. Do you have any suggestions for changes in the grading systems used in the district?
I think the grading system should remain the same in the school district.
Julie?
I do not. About traditional values, common sense. Those, I know that you hear those terms all the time, but that's me. I hate the grading system that we have right now. My kid hates it. She hates it because if she gets a 1.5 in something, she thinks she's flunking and she's not going to pass 7th grade. We get tears over her progress report. Whatever happened to A, B, C, D, F? I can't make any sense out of the grading scale now. I assure you there are parents galore who cannot make any sense out of the grading scale right now. It's almost as if the kids are just getting, I know the teachers are doing the best they can and giving a number, but I don't want my kid to be just a number. I want her to come home and feel confident that, you know what, you may have gotten a C in this class, but you did the best you could. Now let's see how we can improve that. But a 1.5, Mom, I think I'm going to fail and be held back. It's not working for her. It's not working for the parents either. The parents can't make any sense out of it.
Thank you. And I'll now open for further discussion on the grading system. Okay, we'll keep moving. We have another question that was submitted from our live audience. And Julie, we will go to you first. What specific skill or characteristic do you bring that is relevant to the work of the school board?
I'm a mom. I'm a parent. Again, my child, well, today, for example, I dropped her off at school at 7:30 this morning because she had a track meet in Minot. And I won't see her probably until about 8 o'clock this evening. Now, that's not a typical day, but the point is, and every parent can relate to this, the school system has our children for longer than sometimes we have awake in a 24-hour period. I'm a mom. I care. I want to know. Not only that, I'm a former journalist. I know how to ask questions. I know how to get to the root of things. I know who to ask. I know what's valuable and what's not valuable, and I'm ready to do that. I'm a mom. I don't have a fancy education. I don't have a fancy title. I know a lot of our current school board members right now, they've got amazing CVs. They come from great backgrounds. I don't have all of that, but I have heart and I have the care and I want to do the work. That's what I have, and that's what I'm going to bring to the school board.
Thank you. Victoria?
Would you mind repeating the question again, please?
For sure. What specific skill or characteristic do you bring that is relevant to the work of the school board?
Well, for me being part of the City of Mandan, like I said, I am a City of Mandan Planning and Zoning Commissioner. I am Vice President of Mandan Architecture Review Commissioner. I am a dedicated wife. Even though I don't have a child in the school system, my career is the City of Mandan, and I love serving the people of the City of Mandan.
Thank you. Any additional thoughts? Okay. Victoria, I'll give you the next question first. How can the school board work best with other political subdivisions?
Can you define political subdivisions?
I believe it's other political entities like the city commission, the county, other elected bodies.
Can you repeat that again?
Sure. How can the school board work best with other political subdivisions, such as the city commission?
I think the school board should basically attend the city commission meetings and find out what they're doing.
Julie?
I know many times at the school board meetings, you will get a representative from the city involved. I think that there's a fair amount of conversation between the school board and the city commission in other political areas as well. I mentioned this before, and I'm a firm believer that every stakeholder in this community has a voice on how we run our school districts. And so it is important that we continue to have those conversations because sometimes they're hearing and seeing and doing things differently than what just the school board is hearing and seeing and doing. So having those collaborative efforts. I will say this, if I'm elected as a school board member, I will attend every meeting. I think that that is our duty. When the people elect us to be at the meetings, we need to be at the meetings because that's when some of these players are there. That's our opportunity to ask these questions to some of those entities that you just alluded to. And unfortunately, based on the meeting minutes, there are a lot of school board members currently right now not showing up to meetings. And it's actually very surprising to me. What I can promise people is that I will be at every single one.
Thank you. Would you like to respond?
Yes, I do. Basically, we did have a school board meeting on April 15th of 2024. Were you there?
I was not.
Okay, that answers my question. So you were not at every school board meeting attending because you weren't there at the last one?
That's correct. I
Okay.
was not at that meeting.
Okay.
I believe what I had said was if I was elected a school board member, it is my duty, being elected by the people, to show up at the meetings. As a school board member, I will be at every meeting.
But we got an invitation to attend the school board meeting April 15th, and you were not there. There was an invite, but you were not there.
I actually was there. I work at Beck Television. That meeting started at 5:30. I left Beck TV off the interstate at 5 p.m. I got on the interstate. It took me 39 minutes to get from there over to the Coles exit. By the time I got here, and there were a couple school board members still there, including an individual in our audience right now who's running for school board, they said the meeting was over. The meeting that we were invited to lasted, I think, 13 minutes on April 15th.
I know because I was there. So basically, you were not there at that April 15th meeting.
That is correct.
You could have left earlier to be here, but you chose
I
to
couldn't.
basically let
I'm
me
a
finish here.
full-time working mother, and I am not privy to leaving my job until 5 o'clock, unfortunately.
But you knew there was a meeting at the school board at 5:30. Everybody got invites, and I basically replied, and I was there at that meeting. So you're not at every single meeting, just like you said. You missed a school board meeting.
That's not what I said, but we can leave it at that.
Thank you. We'll keep going. Julie, the next question will go to you. How should the school district ensure equitable student-to-teacher ratios across all grade levels, from elementary through middle and high schools?
Well, retention, it starts with retention. Why do we have so many teachers, 10 just the beginning of this year, giving their resignations? And that's only through the March meetings. I haven't seen any of the April meeting minutes online yet. I think one of them might have just been posted, but I don't have the numbers from there. But through the last March meeting, the second meeting in March, 10 teachers already have, well, I shouldn't say teachers, they're professionals, most of them teachers, have resigned in our school district. So we've got to make sure we're retaining the teachers so that we can make sure we have enough teachers so that our classroom sizes don't get too big.
Victoria?
Can you repeat the question again, please?
Yes. How should the school district ensure equitable student-to-teacher ratios across all grade levels, from elementary through middle and high school?
We need to retain our teachers and to retain more education and more programs for the teachers to learn and for our teachers to stay in the district.
Thank you. Do either of you have further comments on this topic?
I don't. My understanding, from what I'm hearing and understanding, it's somewhere between like 22 to 25 students per teacher right now. I think that's a little too high. I think we need to do better to get it down to be more around that 20 mark.
I think we should keep it between 20 and 25%.
Okay. Thank you. Victoria, we'll go to you this time. How will you stay connected to constituents to hear and weigh their concerns and priorities?
Can I defer that question to Julie first?
Sure.
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. If elected, how will you stay connected to constituents to hear and weigh their concerns and priorities?
Well, there are events sometimes that you can go to speak with the constituents. That would be an important opportunity to take. Inviting them to our school board meetings. Sometimes they'll come if they're given the opportunity. Reaching out directly and asking questions. I know I have some direct contacts with several different constituents right now. So I could bring that to the table, those contacts.
Thank you, Victoria.
And I can do the same thing with contacts as well and bring in events.
Okay. Further discussion or thoughts? Okay. Well, that was our last question. So we will now move on to our closing statements. And Victoria, I will go to you first this time since Julie did the first opening statement. You may begin when you're ready.
Okay. If elected as a member to the Mandan School Board, I will ask in-depth questions about our students' educational programs, teachers' educational programs, and to keep technology up to date with our teachers and students so that we as a community understand the value it will bring to the teachers and students. And also, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters who sponsored for this debate tonight, and for people to cast your vote on June 11th and on who you would like to see represent the Mandan School Board. And thank you for allowing me to speak for this evening.
Thank you. Julie?
So again, I'm Julie Cronin-Scarrett, and I have worked hard for every single thing that I have. Nothing has been handed to me. I don't want to get voted in as a school board member just because of a name or a title or how many people I might know. I want to earn the people's vote, and I will do that by making common sense a priority in every decision that the school board makes. I believe in traditional values in education, the ones that were established, again, long before we were ever here. I believe decisions need to be made from the ground up, not from the top down. I will actively listen to our teachers, our students, our staff, our parents, our administrators, the community, all of our stakeholders. I will show up to every school board meeting and play an active role in the meetings and in the decisions that affect all of us here in this community. And I will always, always put the best interest of children first.
Thank you very much. Thank you both for participating in this debate. I also wish to thank Dakota Media Access, Bismarck-Mandan Chamber EDC, the Bismarck Tribune, AARP of North Dakota, and the volunteers from the League of Women Voters for organizing this debate. Thank you to the voters for taking the time to learn more about the Mandan School Board one-year term candidates and issues. This program will air several times on the government access streaming and television platforms, and will be available for online viewing at freetv.org in the days leading up to the June 11th election. Before we close this debate, we remind you that you will need a form of identification to vote in North Dakota. You can find identification requirements and additional voting information on the websites or at the offices of your county auditor and the ND Secretary of State. For candidate profiles, please visit vote411.org. Thank you and good evening.
Thank you.